Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Fretboard Journal podcast. I'm Sophia Wolfson, assistant editor at the magazine. Today, our podcast is with the legendary Phil Weinrobe, who is a musician, an engineer, a producer, a mixing engineer. He kind of does it all. You might know him from working with such artists like Adrianne Lenker and Buck Meek of Big Thief. He's worked on Cass McCombs records, Hand Habits records, Lonnie Holly, Florist. The list truly goes on, and I would urge you to go to his website to see the extent of his credits. He is responsible for helping build Figure 8, which is a pretty incredible studio here in Brooklyn, which led to his own studio also here in Brooklyn called Sugar Mountain, and now his studio journey continues upstate, where he's in the process of building the new version of Sugar Mountain, which we talk about a bit in this episode. Before we get to it, this episode and the podcast in general is brought to you by Peghead Nation. You can get your first month free or $20 off any annual subscription with the promo code Fretboard. We're also brought to you by Stringjoy Strings. You can save 10% on your first order at stringjoy.com with the promo code Fretboard. And also sponsored by our friends at Mike and Mike's Guitar Bar. So, without further ado, this is my conversation with the one of one Phil Weinrobe.
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm happy to see you, even over the internet.
Yeah.
Also, I'm looking at your space.
Oh yeah. Well, this is my little temporary studio room
In the house.
That's in the basement here in the house. Yeah, we're getting close on the actual studio.
So the actual studio, where's that gonna be?
That's like 100 feet down the hill.
Oh, great.
It's right next to the house. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so could you tell us where you're calling in from today? Whereabouts are you now?
I am in Saugerties, New York.
When did you move up there?
I moved here in the middle of June 2025.
Okay, so it's a fresh move.
Yeah, really fresh.
What was the impetus for the move?
I had been living in New York City for 20 years, and after wave and wave of friends leave and move out to the country in various parts of the world, I just felt like, oh, it's time to go. Time to experience a different life than living in Brooklyn. So yeah, and we also, me and my wife, Maya, had a child who was 1.5, maybe at that point. And it was it would be nice to raise them, not in Bed-Stuy.
Yeah, totally.
No shade to Bed-Stuy.
No shade to Bed-Stuy.
But I grew up in more surrounded by trees and woods and things like that.
Talk a little bit about that. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Massachusetts, in central Mass, outside of Worcester.
Okay. How did music factor in early on?
Well, my mother played music, and my father was a big music lover, and music was just in the household and felt like it was part of the family. And then we had a really good music program in our public schools, so everyone was playing an instrument in orchestra when they were 7 or 8 or whatever, and so that was cool. And so I just was playing. I was just playing in the orchestra and playing in the band, and yeah, it was just part of the fabric of life, really. There.
What were you playing at that age?
When we picked out our orchestra instruments, I was playing cello.
Okay.
And I was not. I didn't stick with that. And then when everyone got to pick a band instrument, like a trumpet or a saxophone, I picked the electric bass, which was not an option. But that meant I could play in the jazz band, which is what I wanted to do. So I was in the middle school jazz band. It was really fun.
What were
Uh,
you, yeah, okay, in middle school you pick up the bass. Like what are you listening to at this time?
what am
What's
I listening to? In middle school, I'm listening to like Nirvana
hmm
and Metallica and I mean Nirvana and Metallica. A little I had like a little bit of like Pavement,
Okay.
like but like I don't think I like understood what I was hearing. Guns N' Roses, Use Your Illusion 1 and Use Your Illusion 2.
Mm-hmm.
Uh what else is happening in middle school? Maybe like Stone Temple Pilots and
Cool.
Pearl Jam and yeah, that kind of stuff. Like I was listening like what I thought was like metal and like grunge, but it was just like what was on MTV.
Yeah. Did you stick with the bass through high school?
Yeah, yeah, stuck with the bass the whole time.
Okay.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
whole time.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, and then where does it
Still
take
today.
you still today? Where does it take
Well,
you
kind
where
of.
does it take you after high school?
I go to jazz school in Ithaca, New York, and I study electric bass, jazz studies. And I did that for like a couple years, and then like it just wasn't really the right program for me. And
Yeah, how
so
so?
it was this very small program where there was only like one teacher, one like
Mm,
teacher in the whole jazz program. He was a guitar player, and we just like weren't vibing, me and him. Uh,
it's kind of hard when there's only one then.
yeah, and I was like, man, this is like kind of a lot to like be going to college and studying with this one person and not liking him or what he's teaching me. Uh, So, and at that point, by like, in the middle of my second year in college, I had like, found my community of people I wanted to play music with. And like, I'd gotten into like the local music scene, which was like really cool, a lot of old-timey music,
hmm
fiddle and banjo stuff. And like, I was like, this is great. I'm like playing music all the time.
Mm.
Why do I need to like sit in this guy's class every day? So I was just like left that and did like a sociology degree.
Oh, sick.
Yeah.
How would you say that factors into your music making at all?
Um, I don't know if my sociology degree factors into my music making at all. Uh, but yeah, I don't know. That's a really good question. I mean, I am very interested in how people like function with each other.
hmm
And I guess that like is somewhat in the sociological world of questions of like how that works, I
Oh,
imagine.
absolutely. I
Even though
mean,
that's like a like formal study of it.
yeah, we'll get to a bit in a bit how you function in the studio, and I feel like it totally goes with the sociology degree. How would you say it's different when you start to really play with your community instead, and it's not led in this academic setting?
Oh yeah, that was the best. Then I could like just like learn from everybody. That's really what I wanted. I wanted to like study with the like local banjo player and I wanted to like learn how to play like songs with my pals, and like it just really allowed me to open up. And I could still play jazz. And I was still like in jazz bands all throughout like college. I just wasn't like in the program anymore. So it was
hmm
really cool. It was very freeing. I mean, it just allowed me to do more music really. Because I wasn't like so like I wasn't taking all my time up with whatever this guy wanted me to do. Um, I could just do whatever I wanted, and it was really fun to like spread out a lot, and get into like songs and get into, traditional music
Mm,
and also jazz and weird stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
I am curious, like, what were the seeds of your interest in recorded music and recording music?
Well, I was always like interested in recording music. I had like a little Tascam 414 when I was like 10 or like 11,
Whoa.
like right when I got my bass, I got a Tascam and I loved recording on it. And my father had some like knowledge about not maybe not like full on recording, certainly not digital recording, but like he knew like how to plug things in and like microphones and all that kind of stuff. And
hmm
so he was very encouraging. Um, and yeah, I was recording from like a super young age. And I loved recording like my bands in high school and um yeah, it was just something that was like always part of my life. And but always as like a hobby. Like or
Mm.
yeah, like just like a yeah. Yeah, it was very hobby-esque. I mean, it was a hobby I liked, but like I wasn't like I'm gonna be a recording engineer. I'm gonna make records. That was like ne I never ever ever thought that once. Um,
When did that change?
Still hasn't changed. No, well, like very late. Like I was like 30, 31, and
Hmm.
like and I had a studio in the Lower East Side, and like, but like I didn't go there very much. Like it was more just for fun. Like
Okay.
it was like it was really not something ever like truly. It was like really back burner. I knew how to operate Pro Tools a little bit. I like knew a little bit of things, um, but then I had this job working at this like art space in Bushwick, and that was really cool. And I thought I was like just gonna be like someone who like I don't know works in like arts in general. I didn't really
Yeah,
know
what
what I was
what
gonna
was
do.
your role there?
I was like running the space. I was like operations
Cool.
director, like running this like big sprawling multidisciplinary arts programming education
Cool.
event space. It was fun with all my friends. Like it was a bunch of my like college friends like got into this company and like we all like brought each other in and we had a lot of fun. Um, and I met some really amazing people there. It was like the like kind of like when Bushwick was like just coming up. This is like 2007 to 2012 probably. So it was like really fun, really Wild West shit out there. Uh, like kind of insane. Um, and then I like left that company. I was like, oh, what am I gonna do now? Like now I don't have a job. Like that company kind of imploded. And I was like, oh shit, what am I gonna do to make money? And then Shazad, this gentleman, Shazad Ismaili, who's a great musician and producer and engineer, happened to be like a part of my studio in the Lower East Side that again was like not very serious, but like he would be like, oh, Phil, like come to this party, and then I'd be like, "Oh, Shazad, come to this party." He came to a party once that I was playing music at. He was like, "Oh, I love your music. I'm going to produce your record," uh, which is like something Shazad says to people a lot. I've now learned in a very beautiful way because Shazad's very, very generous. So he did. He like followed through, and like we showed up at a day, and Matt Marinelli was the engineer who I later, become kind of like friends and colleagues with. We worked on a few projects together. But Matt Marinelli was the engineer back when he had the studio called, was it called Choral Sound at the time? It may have been. Um, this really cool room, and we recorded there with Shazad. And shortly after that, he was like, Phil, you should build a studio for me. And like, why he asked me to do that I have no idea. Like he was part of my studio at Rivington, and maybe I think he noticed that like every time he came in, I had like made it a little bit better. I was like, oh, now this thing works. Oh, everyone, now this piece of gear is here. So he's like, oh, this guy Phil, he like makes things better. He can just build me a, $1 million studio
Had
and
you had you done
and
that
press the test.
before?
Absolutely not.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
I was I did have like good I was good at like organizing,
Hmm.
and good at like projects. Uh I think that's what he probably like was picking up on. So yeah, so I built figure eight recording with him and Eli and really me and Eli. And then after we finished, Sam Owens and Michael Coleman joined on and helped like kind of finish it off with us and helped open it. So we built that and then once that was built, I was like, oh, well, maybe I'll just like work out of this studio that I
That you
just
just
built.
built, that you just
That
spent all
like,
this time building.
yeah, but like I don't know why I thought that that would happen because like no one was like asking me to do anything with them like that, you know. But I was living upstairs from the studio, so the convenient thing was that I was upstairs from the studio, and because I built it, I like knew where a lot of the stuff was, and like I knew how it worked just because I built
You
it. Like
make
I didn't.
yourself indispensable.
Yeah, well, and like, there was two studios and Eli was there and he can only work in one studio at a time. And
Yeah.
so Shazad would be like, Phil, can you engineer this? Phil, can you engineer that? And I kind of like, I like knew enough to like be able to do it from the jump, but also I didn't really know that much. So like I learned a lot on the fly there.
Yeah.
Eli taught me a lot and I learned a ton from Shazad. Shazad is an amazing educator and teacher. And he wasn't really so much teaching me like the like hard skills of engineering, but really the like really important soft skills of like being in the studio with people. Shazad's like a real master of navigating that part of the process. And
Yeah,
then yeah,
that's
learned a lot of
totally
hard skills.
sociology.
What?
That's totally
Oh
sociology.
yeah, Shazad's a sociology man. Me and Shazad, we're both Geminis. We're both, Northeast Geminis.
So you also, before you moved upstate, you had your own studio as well, Sugar Mountain. When did that
Yeah,
come into being?
after being at Figure Eight for like 7 years or 5, 6 years, something like that, living up there. Shazad, his mother was getting older, and Shazad got married, and he had a kid, and he just needed like a bigger space to live in. So he moved into the building and like moved into the apartment that I was living in. And then I was like, oh man, now I have to like find a place to live. So I found this building in Bed-Stuy and got it with the intention of like turning the basement into some kind of space I could work out of. I assumed I would still keep working at Figure Eight a lot, but like one thing led to another, and I ended up just building out like quite an elaborate studio in that space, which then turned out to actually be like a really nice room to like record in and to just like make whole records in. So I just started working out of there pretty much exclusively, which was really fun. Um, and so yeah, that studio came online like 2022.
Hmm.
I think like June 2022. Uh, and then yeah, and then I kind of just worked out of there for the next 3 years straight.
Yeah, when you're designing a space, now that you've done it a few times, what are some things that are really important to you?
Oh, the most important thing is always going to be workflow and like designing it for like the thing that's going to happen in that
Mm,
space. And one thing I learned like from building Figure Eight and then like slowly doing more sessions and going to other studios as I, started to like build up a client base, I guess, like is that like commercial studios, of which Figure Eight is one, like tend to be designed for like flexibility, like for like the most amount of people to come in there and like be able to do the thing that they expect to do. That's like the design philosophy, the underlying like methodology that's like informing a lot of the decisions that are being made. Um, but once I started building out my own space, I was like, oh, I don't have to build in any flexibility. I can build it fully idiosyncratic and like fully optimized for like one path. I want to have flexibility within my own practice, but that's still like within my workflow. It's not like I'm not trying to be flexible so like someone else can come here and work like opposite of me.
mm.
So, it was really cool to build the original Sugar Mountain space in Brooklyn in Bed-Stuy because I got to like really investigate like what is the things that I love in a room and like I only want to put those in there and I want to take everything else out. So like I didn't build a control room because I don't like walking between the rooms. I don't like weird communication where like you can't see people but or you can't hear people, maybe you can see them talking or like weird shit like that. Um I wanted to have a place that was like very fast access to like sounds or equipment or whatever. I want a place where everyone can hear each other, where it's like cozy and small and everyone can sit close or like has to sit close.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, that was like a lot of the things I thought about when I was putting together the studio in Brooklyn. And also like part of that was like due to the limitations of the space, but like those things kind of like work together instead of against each other. Um, it being like a small basement, you know. Uh, but now being up here and getting to design a studio again, honestly, I'm kind of just like building it like pretty much the same as I had it in Brooklyn, except because I have so much more space here, like things are just a little bit bigger and I can have
Mm.
like a separate room that I can like have a studio be in. So like I can have like two things happening at once and I can build a chamber, which is fun, and I can have an
Yeah.
actual lounge instead of like a tiny little like closet that had a coffee station in it. Um, so we can like actually have like a kitchen and like a place to sit down that's like not like where you're gonna like knock over a microphone.
Yeah.
Um, so that's like exciting. But yeah, I learned the thing that I really took away from all these studio builds was like build for your what you're doing. And like figure eight like is built perfectly for what it's doing, which is like welcoming lots and lots of different engineers and producers in.
I'd love to stay on this topic of workflow because you've become kind of notorious for the way that you make records in an incredibly specific way. So, could you talk a little bit about your recording ethos as it pertains to live, no headphones, etc.?
Yeah, I tend to record mostly, yeah, live with no headphones. A lot of like I don't really like listen, or I listen, but like we don't listen as like a group. And like listening's not like really part of the recording process. Like we're not like, a typical recording process is like, everyone goes in the room, they put on their headphones, they play the song a few times. They're like, let's go into the control room and we'll listen back to that.
Mm-hmm.
And they listen to it and everyone's like, hey, can you turn me up? And you do that for like 30 minutes and then everyone like is like talking about the take they like and like kind of talking about just when they played the parts right.
Yeah,
And like
exactly.
then you go back out and do it again. And like at some point someone's like, let's pick this take. But I kind of like after doing that for many, many years and just getting super frustrated with that process because it just seemed like people were like not like hearing the same things. And that was really frustrating to me. Like everyone's got their different headphone mix. Everyone's sitting in a different part of the control room when we're playing back. People are like, people are listening really hard in those scenarios. And like, there's something about like really listening, like listening hard that I find to be like a little bit distorting
Mm,
because that's like not how anyone ever listens to music. Like who like
exactly.
listens like that? Like so like the way people listen in like a critical playback environment is like so odd to me. And then people would like make these like really important decisions based on this really weird unnatural process. It's like it just like doesn't it just like stopped making sense. Really, it stopped making sense because it wasn't like working very well. I just
Mm,
kept finding like, people were just like disagreeing in these ways that felt like fundamental to me. Um, and so I started like being like, okay, let's just like not listen back because that's like annoying. And it turns out like actually when you're playing the instrument and doing the take, that's a pretty good listening position because you're like a little distracted. So like you're a little distracted trying to play your part, and that's actually the perfect way to listen to someone else's part. Um, and and then like I realized like, oh, these headphones are like also fucking everybody up. And so I started like trying to get people to record without headphones, and that also started going really well because then at least everybody's like hearing kind of the same thing. Like obviously every seat in the room will have like a different blend, but there's something very natural about that blend. That blend is like something you have understood like since you were a baby.
mm,
Like everyone understands like the spatial visual cues of like how sound works. Like, oh yeah, that piano is like further away from me than the guitar that's like close to me. They don't net they you might have a hard time hearing the piano if it's further away, but like your brain like compensates for that in a way that's like very natural. It's been doing your whole life, you know. Um, even through not listening to music, like just like hearing someone talk from the other side of the room or hearing a sound or whatever. Uh, and so yeah, I found taking the headphones off, everyone kind of was on the same page all of a sudden. I was like, oh, well, this is useful. Now I get everybody on the same page when they're playing. And because we're not doing playback, no one's getting all weird about their like self-conscious part thing that they would never have cared about anyways. So it just started making recordings easier and better. Like it was just everything just sounded better to me. And then everyone had to sit close to each other so they could hear each other. And that was cool because then everyone's microphones were picking up everybody else. So like sound got more complex.
Mm,
And this is all stuff everyone's known for decades.
exactly.
But it kind of fell out of favor, I think, a little bit through the like home recording push of the like early 2000s and into like, modern age.
Well,
This
also
like
just the kind of technological access everyone has to isolation and comping a million times and all this stuff.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. The whole like technical flow became so you could really make really good perfect sounding records like very
Mm.
easily. And so then that just became what everyone did, which makes sense. And like I love a lot of those records. Um, but there's a lot of value in like doing it this other way, which like is kind of this in some ways this old way, but also in some ways like not. I mean, I think that it's just like, oh, well, I'm just like doing like the thing everyone used to do. But then I like do these sessions with like older musicians and they're like, I've never worked like this. I'm like, what are you talking about? You made records in the 70s. They're like, no, that's not how we did it. And I was like, okay, well, this must be how they did in the 40s or something.
Got
They
it.
definitely did it like this in like the 20s and 30s when they were just like the band played to the wax cylinder. That was like mix yourself in the room, you know. Uh, so maybe we're just like making 1920s music now here.
I love
But
it.
I just found
We're
it
in the
works.
20s now, so we've gone
Yeah, we're
full
in the 20s.
circle.
Everything's cycling back, you know? Uh, so yeah, so that's I've kind of like fallen into this yeah, workflow kind of thing where it's just like I just try to have like really good players who can like sit down next to each other and like play music with each other. And it's really rewarding and it's really fun and it sounds good.
Yeah,
And
what are your thoughts on the amount of takes?
I don't really care how many takes we have to do, but it's generally not many if everyone's like good.
Mm,
And I mean, I'm very lucky in that like most of the people I'm working with are very, very good at their music. So we don't end up doing tons of takes. We might like work on a song for a long time. Like we might be like working on a song for 4 or 5 hours. Like let's play that chorus again and like maybe could we like change a kick drum pattern? Let's like try this with like why don't you go up the octave or like what if this dropped out at like bar three and like a lot of like kind of tweaking the arrangements. We'll like get in there and like play the song a lot,
mm,
but I wouldn't really call those takes. And then like by the time we actually are playing the song as we like have all collectively like worked on it to be, yeah, that sometimes is like 1, 2, 3 times. Yeah,
great.
but I don't have like I'm not like I don't have like a early take religion really.
Okay,
Um,
early take religion.
but I appreciate the early takes. And sometimes
Totally.
there's like a lot of magic in those early takes, but there's some magic in take 20 also. you know, especially when people get it. There's like a power in like not having it in your muscle memory,
Yeah.
in like having it be dangerous. There's like a real excitement there. And then there's also this cool thing that happens when you can stop thinking
Hmm.
and like playing with that line and like what does it look like when you're like kind of like in both of those places where it's like half half and stuff. So, just I think they're all amazing. So I just kind of try to like stop people whenever it like sounds great. That's like when we stop. Not like how good can it be or not like can we do it better. Actually, I just did a record and this guy is really amazing musician named Russ Paul, who's this like Nashville legend. He's like in his mid 70s. He said we were we were making this really fun record and he had all these amazing quotes the whole time. And one time he said after a take, he's like, well, we could do it better, but it won't be any good. And I think that really kind of sums it up.
I love
You
that.
gotta figure out where that line is. And it's a tricky spot because you can always do it better. But when
Absolutely.
does it stop being any good? And
Yeah.
so that's a fun little game to play all day long, every day for the rest of your life.
So then these records that you're producing in this workflow you've found, are you mixing all of them too?
I'm mixing all of them. It's pretty rare that I don't mix it. So, once in a while, someone might have me in for just a few songs, and then maybe someone else is like kind of mixing that project. But yeah, I mix
What's
pretty
that process like for you?
for mixing this
Yeah.
stuff. It's really wonderful. I mean, well, one, I just love mixing in general. I think mixing is really fun. Um, it's like a chance to get also a little more like internal for like make producing records for me has become a very like communal event. Like there's always a
Mm,
lot of people there. I very rarely or almost never do like just like me in the room with an artist, like working just the two of us or something. It's almost always like in a ensemble setting. So mixing is really nice because I get to go into like a solo setting where it's just me. So I like that like push and pull of like those two workflows, the communal and the solo. And then also I just love mixing because it's just so fun and weird and cool and mysterious and exciting. And you can like kind of just always be yourself. Like if you're in a bad mood, you can like mix, and if you're in a good mood, you can mix, and the different things will come out, and it's fun to watch that happen. Um, but I really like mixing the stuff I record, uh, mostly because I'm like already mixing when I'm recording it. Like
right. That makes
I'm
sense.
thinking about like the layout of things usually, and like how when we're arranging, I'm thinking about how things are going to be placed in a mixed setting. Um, but then the other reason I like to mix my own stuff is because like I don't want someone to have to deal with my recordings because they're so
The bleed.
the spill is like so much that like it's a lot, and like I'm used to it, and I can like it doesn't even I don't even hear it
Yeah.
anymore. But like, man, I would feel a little bit embarrassed if I sent it to somebody and they'd be like, why is there so much kick drum in the vocal mic? It's like, it's fine. That's
Don't
part of
worry
the
about
job.
it.
Yeah.
It's the
But like, it's like,
magic.
yeah, it's like, so it's hard. It's hard to do that. It's like, or it's been hard for me. Maybe I'll change my mind at some point and be like, oh my God, I never mix my own stuff anymore. But I like doing it. I think
Yeah.
I'd like doing it forever.
We did a profile on Adrianne Lenker last year in the
Oh, nice.
magazine. And so I'm curious what your experiences have been working with her and with Big Thief in the studio.
Yeah, I mean, I love working with Adrian. We're on like our fifth project, net fourth or fifth project. And we're just like really good pals. So it's just so fun to get to work with like one of my best friends and make music, and also happens to be one of my musical heroes. Um, so yeah, it's just such a pleasure. And I mean, obviously such a talented musician, such a talented songwriter, such a talented performer, but also like a really cool record maker and just
Mm,
like has like a really special perspective that's like both like very like she knows like she knows how records get made. She's made a lot of records. She knows what she's talking about. But also she like has this like very like intuitive side that she comes at it with that's like just as strong as her experience. So that's like a really awesome combo that she brings that like I think a lot of people like lose that second part as they gain more and more experience. It becomes a more technical exercise. But with Adrienne, it's like still mystery and intuitive all the time while also having this like wealth of experience and knowing what she wants. Um, so it's really cool. She pushes me in some really cool ways in the studio that I really appreciate. Um, and uh, like asks me like really hard questions about what's going on. I'm like, oh, well.
what would an example of a type of que a hard question be?
Well, she'll just say things like, and you're going to EQ that later, right? And it's like, wait, what do you mean? Like, I don't know. Like, yes, no, like, do you want me to EQ it? Like, that's a loaded way to say that. Like, and like, I don't know, she just gets me thinking in these different ways. Like, no one else says that. And she has like interesting ways of describing sounds, describing how sounds like fit together. Um, yeah, she's just a really wonderful person to work with. And is always like, yeah, always wants the music to sound like as 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 good as it can is like kind of the wrong way to say it, but like as like powerful as it can is
Yeah, and
probably
as
the way.
true to the material as
Yeah,
possible.
yeah. And so it's a really cool challenge and like, I love making records with her. It's been so rewarding. And yeah, I hope we get to do it more and more.
Let's talk a little bit about some of the gear in the studio. Could you tell us just about a couple guitars you record with that are especially fun tools?
Yeah, I guess this is a guitar podcast. Well, I just got back there.
Uh-huh.
There it is. That's a nice guitar that Yamaha actually, thanks to Big Thief, they got Yamaha to send me this guitar. Thank you,
Uh-huh.
Yamaha.
Thank you,
And that's
Yamaha.
that's their new FG9, their new like flagship big boy acoustic and um or big girl acoustic. And it's a really nice guitar. That's great. It's like I just got it like 2 days ago, and we already just recorded it on this record that we're working on, and it sounded really nice. And so that's a wonderful instrument to have around. Um, I have I have like a I was never like a guitar collector.
Hmm.
Uh, But I have this like little rubber bridge guitar that I got in California that my friend Sofia helped me get. And that's
She
been
sounds
really,
familiar.
yeah, that's been a really fun guitar to have. It's a 7 string. It's got a double chorus on the G, really neat. Um
Yeah, that's made it onto a handful of records you've
that's been on a
produced.
lot of records. That was on Bright Future, the Adrianne record, and then featured a lot on Billy Martin's record.
Yeah.
Dog-eared played in that record played by Nuria Graham, who's just unbelievable
Oh, she's the
musician,
best.
the best. Um,
Nuria was brought to the US for that record
yeah,
specifically, right?
Nuria's whole life now is based on coming to make that record.
So
Yeah,
you're responsible in a
yeah.
way.
Well. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm the one responsible, but like we were making, we were when we first started working on that record.
The Billy
The
Martin
Billy
record.
record, like we had started like a year prior to the actual session, and Michael Haldeman was in the room
Hmm.
working with us. He worked on the record the whole time, and he was talking a lot about this artist he really liked, Nuria Graham. And so it was just like a artist that you're with a bunch of people. What you listen to? I'm listening to this. I'm listening to this. I'm listening to this.
Yeah.
And everyone kind of kept listening to this person, Nuria Graham. We were all like, "Damn, we love this record." Me and Billy and Mike and Billy was like, "What if we like get Nuria to come out and like play on the record for like a couple days? Like, do you think she would do that?" I was like, "Yeah." So I messaged her on Instagram, and so did Billy, and she got back. She was like, "Yeah, I'll do that. I've never done that before." She's like, "I've never played on someone's record."
Which is
Um,
so wild to think about now because cut to a
yeah,
few years later and she's on so many amazing
she's
records.
on so many records. Yeah, so she came in and like played on the record, and it went really, really well. And I was like, wow, I love working with Nuria. Like she's really great studio musician, turns out, having never done it before. But had done it for herself. Uh, and so and then she also fell in love with the guitar player on the session, like day one. So like she came back to like visit him, and then it was like, well, if she's back in town, maybe she wants to come back in the studio and work on like another record with me. So then I started having her on tons of records, and yeah, I've kept her really quite busy in the studio for the last couple of years, and now she's living with that guitar player who was on the session with her and has just like moved to the United States and now like
She's the
lives here and
best.
like plays on records
Yeah,
and goes on tour.
everyone should check out her all her records, but her latest record. The Catalyst is,
Oh, it's so good.
oh, it's
Yeah,
unbelievable.
that was the record that got Billy and I really excited about bringing her in. Rubber Bridge sounds good in her
The
hands.
Rubber Bridge sounds good in her hands. The Rubber Bridge kind of always sounds good,
It does.
especially once you find your favorite way of recording it.
Yes, everyone has their like ways they like.
Yeah. What are you looking forward to this year, if there's anything you can already talk about?
I've got some records that I probably can't talk about that I'm very excited about that hopefully will come out this year. If not, I'm sure early next year. Um, but yeah, I've got I'm making some like really fun records with some like longtime friend bands that like I've never really made a record with them before, so I'm really excited. I don't
Oh, interesting. Like people you have pre-existing long-term relationships with, but have not worked together in the
Yeah,
studio.
or like we've worked together a little bit, but like never like really made a record. So like there's a band that like yeah, I've become kind of friends with everybody in the band and we've done a little bit of stuff together, but not like, you know, not I haven't like done their records like since I've been friends with them. And now I'm gonna do a record with them, which will be really fun and also scary. Uh and so that'll be cool. I'll get to record a little bit up at Eli Cruz's studio, Spillway Sound, in West Hurley. And yeah, I'm excited to like I got a record in Ireland that I'm gonna bring Nuria out for.
Oh, fun.
That'll be really fun. We'll be out there for a couple weeks doing a this really fun band. Um and yeah, just a bunch of fun records coming up this spring. But mostly I'm just like well no, I'm very focused on all those records and also focused on building the studio. I
Yeah.
really want to get this studio like cooking and get ready to like have my space again. It's been like, yeah, going on 7 months of working out of like, other people's rooms, which has been challenging.
Yeah, especially because we've talked so much about making a space so conducive to your one specific thing.
Yeah, exactly. And then I have to go into these other spaces and like figure out how do I like get this space to conform to what I want to do, or how do I conform what I'm doing to this space? And it's a lot of trade-offs and it's a lot of like frustrations. And I try to like keep that like to myself, not let the artist know I'm angry.
No,
Uh,
you're a very positive guy.
yeah, but but I'm looking forward to like not having to do that anymore.
Yeah. Anything you've been listening to recently that you've really enjoyed?
Oh, well, my daughter wants to hear the first Raffi record like all day long. Um, and there's a track called Bumping Up and Down on the Little Red Wagon on the first Raffi record. And I've just been like really into that jug bass. Uh, Also the song, I think it's called the song about brushing your teeth on that record is like this cool like a cappella track where Raffi's just doubled his vocals. And it's like so the production is just like so simple and cool. Yeah, listening to this Raffi record a lot.
I love the
And
idea of you going into a recording process and that being like your reference track.
that is my reference right now. It's like I'm just trying to make the Raffi's first record singable songs for children and adults or something.
Hmm.
1976. It's a good record. It's like got
Yeah.
some really nice playing on it. Um, and I've been trying to teach my daughter that like it's okay if we sing the songs without the recording going. There's like you can have music without the recording. She doesn't
Hmm.
understand that yet. Like the song is the recording, which is like, oh yeah, of course that's what you would
Yeah.
think or something. When that's our modern experience. So I've been listening to a lot of Raffi, and then outside of that, I just listened to basically the Sam Wilkes, Dylan Day, Craig Weinrib, that white record, not the blue
So
one.
good.
Although the blue one's good too.
Yeah.
Um, but the white one, I don't know what it's
Ugh.
called. It might just be called their names.
Yeah.
Uh, that is that record. I listened to that record. And then I also listened to Moon Mullins Hotel Paradiso. Those are
So
basically
good.
the three records I listened to.
Those are
Oh,
good. Those are good
and then
recommendations.
sometimes I throw in Bob Dylan's New Morning, which
Beautiful.
I've just kind of come to believe is maybe the best Bob Dylan record.
Oh, interesting. What did it eclipse? Did it eclipse something else for you?
I mean, I feel like every like 4 or 5 years I flip like what I like, what my favorite Dylan record is, it probably, what was my favorite record prior to that? Prior to that, I was probably still um thinking that like the Rolling Thunder Review bootleg series one
Yeah.
with that like crazy version of ISIS. I think that was maybe my favorite. I guess that's not a studio record. I also really love Modern Times.
Hmm.
I love that record. Also the Christmas record is so good from like a few years back. Um, and like we can bring this back to Raffi. That single, one of the singles off Bob Dylan's Christmas record is the Must Be Santa. Do you know that song?
I've heard it, yeah.
Oh my God, it's so good. And like Dylan's version is so good, and the video is amazing. To anybody out there who's not familiar with Bob Dylan's Must Be Santa from his Christmas record, it is just like so fucking sick. Like the band is absolutely on fire. Dylan is spitting like oh, it's so good. Uh and then like we're listening to this Raffi, 1976, record one, he does Must Be Santa on
Wow.
that record, and his version is also sick, not as sick as Uncle Bob's. Uh, Uncle Bob is the master of the Christmas song, but yeah, but New Morning is my jam right now.
Hell yeah.
I can't get enough, man. I mean, Man in Me, are you kidding? That is such a song. Uh, that whole record is just out of control.
Yeah. I feel like a good place to wrap up is a bit of a corny question, but it always gets a good answer, which is, and I know you also do teach a mixing class for School of Song. So, there are younger people listening to this podcast too who might be interested in getting into recording, whether that be engineering or producing or mixing. What would if you have any advice or anything to say to these people, what would you say?
Um, yeah, my advice for anybody who wants to like get into engineering, mixing, recording, producing, like really any arts like that, um, is to just be in your community, like be in community with people. Like, I mean, it's just so the only way to do it. You just have to immerse yourself with other people. Like you don't get better at mixing, engineering, or recording by like sitting by yourself and like reading like websites or like, you know, going online or like practicing by yourself. You get better by like making friends, recording your friends' bands, um, and like going through that process of just like really being in a scene. And if you're not in a scene, go find one. And if you're in one, like be even more in it. That's like really the only way, I think, is just to like be out there in the real world. Uh, yeah, that's my biggest advice. At least that's what worked for me. Well, maybe it is possible these days to do it like by just like posting sick shit on TikTok, but I don't think that's the way. And even if it is the way, I don't think that's the most fun way or the most rewarding way. Yeah. So get in your community and make some shit.
Beautiful.
Make lots of it.
Lots of it. Because it's
Make
not
lots
all
of
gonna be
shitty stuff.
good.
Oh no, no. You can't worry about good or bad. There's no,
Exactly.
yeah, that's like the last it's just delete that now. Like there is no good or bad. You just like make a thing, make another thing, make another thing, make another thing, make another thing. It's just reps.
Yeah,
Just reps. Look at Steph Curry, you know.
totally.
He's
This
you
is
know
great advice.
how many shots is that dude putting up a day?
A lot.
1,000 probably like so many. So when he goes and shoots a shot, it's like no big deal.
Totally.
So it's like it's just got to be like that. It's like, oh, you're gonna mix this record? It's no big deal.
Yeah,
You've done 15,000 of those. That's where you want to be. And you can only get there by kind of doing a lot of shitty stuff.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for doing this.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you.